Hey guys, this video will be a review and test of the Rapido Trains Inc. GMD-1 in HO scale. The model we're going to look at today is the factory-equipped DCC ESU Loksound version. This one's in the striped paint scheme for CN. So the first thing we'll do is open one up and see what comes in the box. You get a full set of road numbers for this particular version, build diagram, manual, and some advertising. So that's what's included in the box and the packaging. They also have these detail parts tucked into individual bags. These look like re-railers, probably for the side frames. I think this is a radiator cover for the engine end, which will go down here. And looks like an all-weather window, which is pretty cool. So depending on what era you're modeling, they've included some detail parts to help make the locomotive fit that particular era better, whether it's as-built. I think they come more like, this is more of an as-built version, and then if you want to do later on, you can add these detail parts. Before we take a look at the detail on 1440, I just wanted to point something out. So these are the same locomotive from this last release, but there's actually subtle variations. Like 1440's got ditch lights, and you can tell the road numbers are different on the cabs. So there's just these subtle differences, which is a really cool thing that Rapido does. There was even a 6-axle version as well. So there was 3 versions in this release, and I think this is the 3rd time they've released these GMD-1 locomotives. So you can really get a wide variety of details, right from the as-built to going to the most modern day, which I believe are these 1440 is one of those on this side. So that's just something I wanted to point out, how awesome it is that even though it's the same locomotive, they've done like multiple variations of these, kind of representing the different styles they've had over the years. Alright, so first thing we'll do is take a close look at the detail on this 1440. Alright, so now that we've had a look at the detail, let's put it on the scale and see what it weighs in at. So it weighs in at 424 grams. That is 15 ounces exactly. So it's still pretty good. So for a quick comparison, Athearn Genesis 4-axle GP40, 397 grams. Intermountain's SD40-2W in CN, 370 grams. And the Bowser SD40-2, the new ones, are 541 grams. So this thing is heavier than the Athearn and Intermountains, which is always good. That means it's going to translate into more pulling and pushing power. So let's get out the pull meter and see what this thing can do. Okay, we'll do the pull test first. We'll do it 3 times and then we'll take an average of the 3. Okay, first one, 95 grams. Second one, 75 grams. And the third test, 90 grams. So those average out to 86.66 grams of drawbar pull. That's 3.05 ounces. That's pretty good. Let's flip it around and see what the push can do. Okay, same deal. We'll do the push test 3 times and then take an average of the 3. Okay, first one was 90. $100 grams. And 100 grams again. So that averages out to 96.66 grams of drawbar push, or 3.40 ounces. And that's really good for a drawbar push. It's actually impressive this thing can push more than it can pull. Usually they're pretty much the same either way. So really good results on the push and pull test for this locomotive. For being a small, like non-cowl 4-axle unit, there's not a lot of room in there for them to put weight. And to compare just quickly, like an Athearn Genesis GP40 can pull 56.6 grams, so this thing can do an additional 30 on top of that. The Intermountain SD40-2 could only pull 55 grams, and the Bowser SD40-2 can pull 95 grams. So this thing is in the range of the Bowser SD40-2, which is a 6-axle unit. So that's really impressive for a little 4-axle like this guy. Alright, so the next thing we'll do is head back down to track level and we'll take a listen to some of the sound features that come on this ESU Loksound equipped decoder. Here's a quick look at the functions from the manual. So we'll just cycle through all the different sounds that it comes with. And I'm pretty sure it has Easter eggs too, so I'll try not to miss those. I think they're 16, 17, 18, but we'll check and see what they are. There's also a note about all the different horns that they've got programmed into this ESU Loksound decoder. So we had to listen to the prime mover there when we were looking at the details, so I won't bother having it over the sounds that it doesn't need to be on for. So first we'll just take a listen to the bell. And the horn. Something that I like about the ESU decoders is they respond so quickly to the horn button. That was something that always bugged me about the Soundtrack Tsunami decoders, is like the horn kind of lagged and you couldn't do little quick bursts like this. So that's one thing that's cool about those ESU decoders. Okay, function 3 is flange squeal. And that operates in conjunction with how fast you've got it set. Function 4 is a notch 8. I'm not going to bother going into that. Function 5 is a Doppler horn. Function 8 is your prime mover, start up and shut down. Function 11 is a fast Doppler horn, which doesn't seem to do anything. 15 is the brake, which doesn't seem to do anything. So 16. So I'm pretty sure that's Bob and Doug McKenzie. So if you're not Canadian, you're probably not going to know what that is.
Okay, good day. I'm Bob McKenzie. This is my brother Doug. How's it going, eh?
So, like, take off to the Great White North.
Beauty.
Take off. It's a beauty way to go. Take off, you hosers.
So those are Bob and Doug McKenzie. Functions 20, 21, and 22 are all the Sarco spitter valves. That's to blow down the moisture. The prime mover has to be running, but there's 20 is a slow version, 21 is a fast version, and 22 is an after shutdown. I can't seem to get that one to work, but basically it's just the spitter valve, and the prime mover has to be running. There, you can hear it there. The last function is 23, and that's the brake set and release. So that sound normally comes on. It's just that hiss before the engine starts moving. So if you press 23, you can turn it off if you don't like it. Now that we've listened to the sounds, we'll take a quick look at the lighting that this model comes equipped with. So I'm assuming for lack of functions on the decoder, they've got the number boards just automatically come on when you put on the track power. We've got headlights and working ditch lights. And they can be dimmed with F7, which kills the ditch lights and puts the headlight on dim. So in addition to those, we've also got working class lights, which is pretty cool. There's one on each side. So that is pretty cool. Okay, we'll flip it around and take a look at the rear lighting. So same deal with the number boards on the back end, and the lighting is pretty much identical on this 1440. Got a rear headlight, ditch lights nice and bright, and you can dim them with F7, which kills the ditch lights, puts the headlight on dim. And we've got the class lights, which are on function 9 for this one. Okay guys, so that'll wrap up this review and test of this Rapido Trains Inc. GMD-1. Absolutely fantastic model by Rapido. The weight is great for such a small locomotive like this. The push and pull test is fantastic. That's very impressive, the abilities of this thing. The sounds are great. The ESU Loksound decoder, fantastic as always. And the lighting is really well done. So just all around, this is a great locomotive. I'm very happy with the two that I got. One thing I will say though, I mean the Easter eggs that they put in there, it's funny the first couple times I listened to it, but I mean if you're going to go through all the trouble, and this is, bear with me here, this is my own personal opinion, but if you're going through all the trouble of making this thing so prototypical so that you're going as far as to put details on the bottom of this thing, why not throw some extra prototypical sounds in rather than throwing in just a goofy Easter egg? I mean, it is funny, but it kind of loses its funniness after the first couple times you hear it, and you're never going to use it again. But if you put an old Hotbox recording in there or something, that would be really cool. You know, anything that's prototypical. I mean, there's so many different sounds that they could do, even just more horns, bells, anything. That's my personal opinion and just a quick rant. But yeah, that's my one only thing with their locomotives is that if you're going to go through all the trouble to make it so prototypical, I would like to see a few more prototypical sounds included on the decoder. But other than that, everything is absolutely fantastic with this model. So I'll do a full breakdown in the video info, take a look at that. I'll also include the links to Rapido's webpage for their master class list and everything if you want to learn more about these locomotives. I'll also include a link in the video info to my playlist with all the other locomotive reviews. in case you want to compare like push-pull tests and weights and stuff like that. So all that information will be in the video info. Check that out. As always, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.